Well, we welcome you to the Post Chicken and Beer for Buffaloes Primetime, presented by Aflac. Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover. Call aflac.com to learn more. Welcome to the program. Good to be out here once again for a Thursday. We are going without Coach Prime here today. Coach Prime, we got a notification here just a little while ago, was a little under the weather and had a bad reaction to his immune IV is what I was told. I don't know exactly what that means. So we're without Coach Prime here today. So Coach Flea, Gary Harrell, kind enough to come and join us here today. Coach, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. How was Coach doing when you were with him this morning?
Well, we had a team meeting this morning, and anytime he's not in our presence, we know something's wrong. He don't miss very much.
Yeah.
So he didn't show up, so we went to check up on him. He wasn't feeling well, so we resumed the meeting. But he was at practice,
Okay.
for the full entirety, but
Yeah.
he's just not at his full strength right now, so
Sure.
he's trying to take care of that. Yes.
All right. Well, prayers with Coach Prime, and
Absolutely.
We'll get him back on his feet so he's there on Saturday,
Oh,
right?
no doubt about it.
That's what we need right there. Buffs coming out that 48-41 loss to USC. Also coming up in the show, by the way, Brett Bartolone, wide receivers coach, is going to join us, and Xavier Weaver, who's having a heck of a season for the Buffaloes. He's going to join us as well. Just a quick programming note I want to mention a couple of times. Next week, because of the Friday night game versus Stanford, we're out here on Wednesday next week. And I don't want to tease you too much, but Coach Prime's going to be here, obviously. And the Aflac Duck is going to be here next week. You guys ready for that? Huh? That's where we're at with Colorado football. The Aflac Duck is going to be here next week, so we're looking forward to that. All right, well, what's the takeaway from that game on Saturday? Slow starts. The last three quarters, phenomenal.
Yes.
Made a heck of a game of it. What's the takeaway from a contest like that?
Like I said, a slow start. We played two teams that's in the top 10,
Yeah.
Oregon and USC, and we didn't perform well against Oregon. Slow start. Same thing with USC. And second half we came in and made the adjustments. Guys played with more confidence. So what we're trying to do right now, as far as rearrange our practice schedule to see how can we start fast. We're trying to figure that part out. We don't think it's play calling. We think we have the guys to get it done, because the second half that we play, if we just simply do that in the first half, we'll be fine. We're not good enough to spot a team, especially a top 10 team, 21 points, and try to fight back. But what we take from that game, a lot of guys grew up. The Kamani, he came in and played well. A lot of guys had to come in to replace Shallow, didn't play.
Yep.
We're missing a lot of pieces, but a lot of guys came in and grew up during that game, and it showed us that we do have the right guys to get it done. We just got to start fast.
The slow start you're talking about, so how about this number right here? Colorado in the first quarter against USC, 72 yards, 0 points, 1 turnover. The next three quarters, 492 yards, 41
it's
points,
crazy.
and no turnovers.
No turnovers.
Yeah.
No 3 and outs, no offensively. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, give them a round of applause for
Absolutely.
that.
First half, we come out, we start slow, 3 and out on offense, defense, we just not getting necessary stops.
Yeah.
And then second half, no 3 and outs, and we shut them out the whole entire fourth quarter. Made the game interesting, but we're heading in the right direction.
It's amazing, and we've talked, I think, leading up to this season, Coach Flea, about the depth in some of the rooms,
Absolutely.
right? Your room included, by the way. But at wide receiver, we know Xavier Weaver we're going to have here, and you've got Jimmy Horn, and work your way on down the line with the guys there. And out of the blue comes number 14.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And I remember early in camp at one point, Gary and I are out of camp, and Gary taps me and goes, "Who's number 14?" I said, "I don't know, one of the freshmen," right?
Right.
And you said, "Boy, that kid's really talented. I mean, he really looks like he could be a player."
Absolutely.
Well, then the season gets underway, and we don't see him because of the depth, right? And I'm going to be real honest. Here's a little inside baseball deal from the play-by-play guy. With the first time he caught the ball in my head, I'm thinking, I have no idea who that is, right? Number 14, and so I'm looking at my roster real quick. Who in the world? But how about Omarion Miller coming out? It seemed like him out of nowhere, but you've seen him in practice every day. You know what kind of talent he has.
Yeah, we've seen it in practice. And like
Right.
I said, we had the depth, and some of the guys was doing very well. And Coach Prime does a very good job as far as identifying talent, when
Sure.
he sees it. And he always said we got to find a way to get him in the mix. And, just through the transition and things he was going through, he got his shot. And when he got in, he made some very, very exciting plays. Shador trusts him. At first, some of his assignments, as far as knowing what to do, he wasn't all the way there.
Sure.
But he got in, and like I said, that confidence in that game is going to help him along the way.
You make that kind of jump.
Yes.
And it's a little overwhelming for some guys, right?
Absolutely.
But I would think for a young man like that with the physical attributes, he's got a 6'5" wingspan. I mean, he's got big hands and looks exactly like you want a wide receiver, a 6'2" to look. Once you make that first play, does the switch go off? And you think, well, maybe I can do this, and then look what happened.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing what Coach Prime said, and our word this week in the meetings is expectation.
Sure.
Not what people expect of us or what you expect of yourself. And now, Mario, now you got in the game. No one had any expectations of you. And usually a player will perform well under those circumstances. But now, when they're doing their scouting points, they see what you are capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
So Arizona State is going to be watching you and game planning now to see how do you affect them or attack them. So now that you have the expectation of high standards, now it's going to be intriguing to see how he performs.
Is that one of the toughest things for a player? I mean, for example, everyone knows Shador. He's one of the hunted, right? We know that. Xavier Weaver's one of the hunted. Dylan Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone game plans for them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the toughest transition for a young player? Okay, like you said, you showed it.
That's right.
Now we're going to play defense.
Now you're going
right?
to play defense. It's just like a guy on scout team. You show them the card, they go out perform well, but when you give them instructions, it slows them down, and it happens. But Shador, he's a different person. Dylan Edwards showed that he's a different person. Travis Hunter, those guys, they have a different mindset. So, we don't know Amarion Miller to see how he's going to transition to the next game. He's been practicing well this week. I think that he has his head straight. His mindset, his confidence is where it needs to be. But it's one thing when you're on that stage, that spotlight, when the lights come on, to see how he's going to react.
Much the same with Cormani McClain.
Yes.
Didn't get quite the post-game pump because the numbers that Omarion put up were so spectacular. But a little similar. And I know the coach has been challenging him, hasn't he, leading up to that moment.
Mm-hmm. He just didn't practice well. He was there but didn't do things and practice the right way as far as being on time for meetings. He didn't study well. But he got in the game, and he showed what he's able to do with his natural ability. So now he has to apply the other things off the field to make him a complete player, and that's what Coach Prime is trying to imply with him.
Coach Prime has how should I put this, a frankness with his players,
Very.
Right?
And coaches.
I mean, I was going to say, and all you guys do. So there's never any gray area where these young men understand what they're being asked to do and what they need to do, right?
Yeah, like you said, with the players, with us, he has an expectation, and he requires us to give him those things in return. He's going to give a lot. He always said, once I give you something, I'm expecting something in return. So he's going to be very frank. He's going to tell you what you need to get done as far as a player, as a coach, and he's very demanding.
Yeah.
But he's going to allow you to grow into what you need to be and do your job. He's not going to micromanage the position. He's not going to micromanage the coaches, but the expectation, the standard every day is very demanding, and you have to live up to it.
Is the lesson learned for guys like the two we're talking about and others that greatness doesn't just happen? Right? You got to work for it, right? You got to be talented.
That's right.
And you got to work for it, right?
That's right. They say that, talent without work is dead. You have to work. Yeah. And that's what we thrive on through our practice. You have to practice the right way. Coach Prime watches every play, while he's at practice. He watches film, and he comes in your office and he wants answers. Same thing in the classroom. If you don't perform well in the classroom, if you have a certain amount of Fs, you're not playing. Same thing with film study. He watches to see how much time are you watching film on your opponent throughout the week. If you're not preparing yourself for your opponent, if you're not preparing yourself for the game and for life, like I said, the greatness, those things just don't happen overnight. You have to work towards those things.
I mentioned Shador Sanders, and obviously the numbers have been phenomenal this season. Number 2 passer in the country right now, and by any metric, he's one of the top, 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the country. You've been around him for quite a while.
For a while.
You've known a long time.
For a while.
What is it that makes this guy? By the way, he's the number 1 highest graded quarterback in the country in the fourth quarter. Okay,
I didn't know that.
So crunch time.
Wow. Yes.
Crunch time, according to Pro Football Focus. So in crunch time, he steps up to those moments.
Always did.
What did you see from him when he was younger that made you led to believe that this was the kind of player he was going to be?
He always had those instincts, those traits in him when he was at Jackson State. Just like everyone, we just never knew once the competition level was higher, a bigger stage like a Colorado, Pac-12, will he be able to perform under those circumstances based on his arm strength, his timing? He's always been smart. He's always been accurate. Yeah. But he's just a tough kid. And whenever his back is against the wall, you're going to see the best Shador Sanders at all times.
Sure. He's got kind of an interesting demeanor about him.
Yeah.
I never see him
very confident.
It doesn't seem like he's ever really wound up.
No.
He's always very even keel.
Yep.
The team feed off of that?
They do. And when he's able to approach an individual, a teammate, in any type of adversity, they take it well because of that. Sometimes he come off very aggressively. Sometimes he speak very soft-spoken. But he knows how to deliver that message to each and different player, his teammates.
Down the stretch of that game last week, when you guys went back and graded and said, okay, did we handle everything correctly down the stretch from a clock management standpoint? What did you guys find out?
We think we did everything correctly. We felt like we left, because prime word, we left a lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah.
We felt like they had a lot of explosive plays earlier. We got some stops offensively. We just started slow. We made plays late, but when you watch the film, everything we prepared for, they did not do anything that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
And so that was the disappointing part. It was not able to take advantage of the opportunities that we watched throughout the week.
I know you were a little bit focused on one side of the ball, but boy, for a college football fan to watch those two quarterbacks last week,
that's awesome.
That was, I mean, if you love the game of football,
Right.
between Shador and Caleb Williams,
Absolutely.
that was as good as it gets right there, wasn't
Absolutely.
it?
Two great quarterbacks. I think they both have great futures, and I think they both took it upon themselves to make it
Yes.
competitive.
Yeah.
Like two great quarterbacks on one field. Who's going to be the best one to walk off this field?
You might have saw the clip when they met at midfield. I know they embraced and Caleb just said, "Sir, you keep balling," right? And that's show respect there between those two. We're here at the Post Chicken and Beer in downtown Boulder. It's Buffs Prime Time presented by Aflac. Pinch hitting for Coach Prime. We got Coach Flea out here today. We'll take a quick break. Come back on the other side and continue. This is Colorado football from Learfield. Football is brought to us by the Hiltons on Canyon. They're coming to Boulder for the game. We'll stay at the Hiltons on Canyon, a proud partner of Colorado Athletics. Buffs at Arizona State on Saturday. Going to be a warm one down there. They're right now, my phone app anyway, said 102 would be the kickoff on Saturday, which, by the way, would match the hottest game in Colorado history, which was 2007 when we were down there in Tempe before the Pac-12. So we're hoping that's not the case. I think it was, what, 90? It was 98 or 99 down at TCU earlier this year? Sound about right? Yeah, something like that, 97, 98 or something. So it's going to be a hot one nonetheless. Coach Prime under the weather today, as we told you. We've got the associate head coach, Coach Fleet, Gary Harrell joining us. Somebody asked during the break here to explain kind of your job and what your responsibilities are for the Buffaloes.
Yes, like I said, I work closely with Coach Prime when it comes to the schedule. At Jackson State, I did the same thing as far as the practice schedule. He has a lot of things going on, so we sit down and we want to make sure that it is conducive to what we're doing throughout the week. And at the same time, I got to coach the running backs as well with the offensive coordinator. So I coach the running backs, the assistant head coach. I work closely with Coach Prime as far as doing the scheduling. If he had to step out for any reason, I try to be there to support him and just try to deliver the message and the vision that he has intact.
And so if Coach Prime can't make the show, guess who gets called on?
Absolutely. At the last minute.
Hey, with your running backs, Elton McCaskill the last couple of weeks has been back.
Yes.
What did you see from him coming off his injury?
We wanted to see him in a game-type setting. He came in this season with a ACL injury, so we want to make sure that we took care of him, that we did not put him in harm's way.
Sure.
He didn't move very well. He was very frustrated trying to force the issue, so we kind of slowed him down. So we think right now he's to the point where he can make the right cuts off the knee. He knows the system. We want to continue to build his confidence, but it was good to get him in a game setting to get hit and just get a good feel before we move forward.
But you really don't want to throw him to the dogs out there.
Absolutely
really,
not right now, especially when we have a great group of guys. When you talk about Anthony Hankins, the Dylan Edwards, the Xavier Wilkerson, and the Cavassier Smoke. We have a great room. We have some guys that can carry the football, so it's not needed to force him. He's a young guy. He still have 3 years remaining, so we want to look ahead to make sure that he still have a bright future with Colorado.
When he's full go, because seeing him at Houston, I mean, he can be a dynamic running back.
No doubt. Yeah. With the size, he has long lower extremities. I mean, when he hits it, he looks like Eric Dickerson when he's running. So we're very intrigued to see once we get him to that point how he's going to help us, in the run game. But we feel good about it, but we just got to bring him on slow. But he's a dynamic player.
I would imagine you and Bill O'Boyle, the offensive line coach, are smiling as much as anybody last week, right? I mean, the Buffs went out and ran the ball for over 100 yards and really took pressure off Shador in the passing game. What was your kind of assessment when you went back and watched what we did running game?
That was our message to the players, to the team. We have to be able to run the football. And we kind of made sure we was in the right situations. With Sean Lewis did a great job as far as scheming. OB had the guys up front, did a great job as far as opening the holes for the backs. And then now Shador also did a great job as far as seeing what was available and putting us in the right place. So with all those three elements, we was able to have positive yards in the run game. Hankerson did a great job. Dylan Edwards came in with a change-up. And then when you add Shador as far as scrambling and using his legs on some big plays, all three of those guys made it conducive for us to run the football last week.
And Flea, people got to understand, too. We know the passing game is exciting, right? We all love seeing that, the high wire act and all that. If you can't run the ball to take some pressure on the quarterback, that really makes it tough offensively.
It does. Yeah. Quarterback-wise and also, the O-line. If you're always passing, think about if you're passing, you're always retrieving, trying to protect the quarterback. You're never going forward. So when you have the mindset of going forward as far as being the hammer and not the nail, it gives the O-line the empowerment to just be more forceful, instead of being reactive. So the run game, running the football and stopping the run, that's championship football.
Yeah. Defensively. Now, USC, as they tend to, being the top-ranked offense in the country, is going to put some numbers up.
Yes.
But I thought there were moments that defense showed some improvement last week.
No, they did. I think we need to get better as far as putting more pressure on the quarterback with the front four. But Coach Kelly did a good job as far as mixing up some pressure from the second level, from the linebackers and the safeties. So we was able to move Caleb around and get him off his pivotal point. We know once he's comfortable in the pocket, he's very dangerous. So we wanted to get him on the movement, which we did a better job in the second half. And then we also had some turnovers and some stoppage. Cam came in and got an interception. But, it's just not the defense. We got to make sure offensively that we put him in a good position, not going 3 and out. And that fatigues the defense. And then special teams, we got to make sure we're not doing anything foolish to put the defense in a bad predicament.
This defense has had a penchant. Yes, they're giving up yards, right? Giving up 480 yards per ball game, 45% on third downs, on and on down the line. But the turnovers have been key. It's been a playmaking defense. Buffs have forced 12 turnovers this season, 8 interceptions.
Yes.
That's number 3 in the country,
Absolutely.
by the way. Cameron Silman-Craig leads the Pac-12, by the way, in interceptions with 3. So that's been a key for this.
Absolutely.
Maybe the numbers haven't been great, but the big plays have been there to offset that, correct?
Yeah, and they've been at the right time. You
Yeah.
know, if you look at the game, the interception, the turnover comes at the right time to give us the momentum to win a ball game or try to attempt to make the comeback.
How close is Shiloh to get back? We're going to see him this weekend?
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
he's been practicing this week. You know, I think he's probably closer to getting back than Travis Hunter. So he should be back shortly.
Yeah. And he's kind of important from almost a quarterback in the defense.
He is. You know, there's a
right?
lot of checks, a lot of communication on that level, and he does a great job from his experience from being back there.
Right.
You know, he's did a great job as far as being in position of learning with Coach Kelly what he needs to get done. So missing Shallow, and he's a great secondary player, you know, as far as making tackles and being there to make the interception. He's a valuable part of what we do on defense.
And Travis, I'd imagine you've still got to pull the reins back on him, right? Because, I mean, he's just chomping to get back
He's
out
calling
there.
and texting every day trying to get back, you know. But we're going to take our time because it's a very serious injury that he has. But he's there at practice. He's in great spirit. He's still leading the guys and, you know, and having a good time. But Coach Prime is going to make sure that the moment is right for him.
Yeah, Coach Prime said he's been coaching now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's out there coaching, you know, encouraging the guys, being Travis Hunter.
Yeah. Miles Slusher, are we close with him?
He's close also. All those guys pretty much probably maybe 2 weeks max, to be honest.
All
you know, Slusher, you know, his aggressiveness on defense is missed tremendously. With those missing pieces defensively, once we get those guys back, man, you know, going into the second half of the season, you know, the future is bright.
Yeah, those are playmakers right
I
there.
agree.
All right, Arizona State. Tell us what you see from Coach Dillingham's team.
Huge.
Yeah.
You could tell they was very they had premium as far as getting size. You know, guys that's naturally big, you know, as far as D-line linebackers. So they're not a typical 1-4 team, and that's what we're trying to sell our guys. You cannot look at the record and understand who they play. They play some tough opponent, USC, Oklahoma, but they play very well. So we got to make sure we don't look at the record, that we continue to play the guy that's in the uniform, because they do a great job on defense as far as everything that we've seen with Colorado State, with USC, as far as crowding the line, giving it different looks to disguises on defense. They do a very good job at that. So we got to make sure that we're on point.
Has that been part of the message this week? I mean, when you think about the way this season started, I mean, it's, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's been a 10 every week, it seems like, right?
Every week.
Playing the national runner-up, playing Nebraska, Colorado State, then a couple of top 10 teams, and, you know, the pregame shows and all that. All of a sudden, it seems like this one is just everyone's kind of taking a breath this week a little bit. Is it important for the guys to understand, just because the hype surrounding the game's not there from everything else, that this still is a big game for you guys?
It's a very big game. We look at the month of October. You know, we got 3 games. You know, we always want to win at home, defend home. You know, we got Arizona State as a way. We go win this ball game, come back on Friday night and play Stanford, and we have a bye week, then UCLA. We got to make them go away to play UCLA.
Right.
So this is the hunt for October. You know, we got to use the baseball term and come out and make sure we attack it that way.
Yeah.
We got to be 3-0, and it starts right now with Arizona State. So we don't mind. You know, Coach Prime do a great job as far as make sure we're able to handle the moment. You know, sometimes the moment, as far as the expectations or the media attention, the fans, is going to be higher than what it is right now. But Arizona State is a worthy opponent, and it's our next opponent, and we must win. It's a must-win for us to get back on the winning track.
Yeah, love it. The Buffaloes and the Sun Devils on Saturday at 4:30. I know you were probably sitting down to grab lunch or something, and so thanks for swinging on over.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's Coach Fleet. Gary Harrell, assistant head coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. They've got Arizona State this week. 2:30 the pregame, 4:30 the kickoff. Gary, Bobby, and I will have the broadcast of Colorado Football Network. We'll go ahead and take a timeout. Our assistant segment coming up next. Brett Bartolone, the wide receivers coach, is going to join us after a break here at the Post Chicken and Beer. This is Colorado Football from Learfield. Hey, every week the Coaches Show is hosted right here at the Post Chicken and Beer with 7 Colorado Front Range locations. The Post brews up delicious award-winning beers and fries of the crispiest, juiciest hot chicken around. Fried chicken and beer to go together like black and gold football talk. Stop by the Post for all your game time provisions. And for next week's show, again, we're out here. Don't forget next week on Wednesday, because the Friday night game, we got Stanford on Friday night at Folsom Field. As I mentioned earlier, the Aflac Duck is going to be here. So we got that to look. They haven't told me if the Aflac Duck needs his own segment or not, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. So, Brett Bartolone's here, wide receivers coach. I was just going to say, give him a round of applause. I don't know who's going to get higher ratings, you or the Aflac Duck next week.
Oh, I'll take the Duck.
Well, welcome. Thanks for coming out today.
I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, give us some of your background. Let folks know a little bit about you. Where you come from? Where'd you grow up? Married? Not married? What?
Not married. Still very single. Football.
Okay.
I'll do
there
that
we
to
go,
you.
ladies. There we go.
I'm from Whittier, California, in Southern California. Played at Washington State University, and I've just kind of been all over the place. Coaching Division III football for a while. I was at the University of Nevada for a while. I was actually in Europe for like 6 months coaching football. Got hooked up with Coach Prime last year at Jackson State, and here we are in Boulder. So happy to be here.
When did you play for Wazoo? Were you there?
2012, 2016. I was with Leach's first year.
That was okay.
First class.
You were with the Pirate there.
That's right, the Pirate.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a phenomenal guy. What kind of impact did he have on you?
He was huge. He was everything to me. Not only as a player, I truly, developed as a player and a young man under his guidance while I was there. But I truly wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. And he was the one who put me in place. With Coach Prime, the transition from Nevada to Jackson State. That was Leach's relationship with Coach, and that's kind of how I jumped on the scene. And so I'm forever grateful for that.
So you really have been an assistant coach under 2 iconic coaches. I mean, Mike Leach is like, God rest his soul, an iconic, unique human being, and now with Coach
You can
Prime.
say that, yeah. And they're both unique and different in their own ways.
Sure, yeah, I bet. So what was that like your first season working for Coach Prime down at Jackson last year? And you were the offensive coordinator at that point.
Correct,
in time, right?
yeah. It was awesome, and everything about Coach and the way he handles his business and handles, each and every day, just operational-wise, it's different from every other place that I've ever been, in a good way, and it worked. And, just the whole experience that I had there at Jackson State, it was different from any other place that I had been, being in Jackson, being at an HBCU and being in that type of environment. That was something I'll never forget.
Being a football guy, you obviously, I'm wondering, that first time you sat down and had a meeting with Deion Sanders, and being a football guy, what he, was as a player, as an athlete, culturally, that had to be a little bit overwhelming, I would think, at the time, huh?
He just, once you sit down and you get to talking with Coach, he's just a normal dude, and he's pretty laid back. And I went out and I visited him at his place in Texas there, and we were sitting down at some little diner. I don't know what it was, in some town. I don't even know where we were at, to be honest with you. And it was really just me talking with him about the game and the plan, and I was talking with Shador and just getting his 2 cents, and then it seemed like Coach just kind of just let the conversation roll, however it was, and it almost seemed like he was just kind of, not in a sense like just judging, but just analyzing from a sense, my answers and that whole conversation. But once you get to talking with Coach and you get to know with Coach, he's a normal human.
When it comes to Shador, and you know this better than anybody, the one thing that struck me about him, both in conversation and watching him, is his football IQ is off the charts. What was it like being the coordinator with him at that time?
It's easy. Anytime you got a guy that's super intelligent like that, high football IQ, that makes my job a lot easier.
Sure.
So my job last year was just making sure he saw it through the same lens as me, and he did. He did, and we spent a lot of time with each other, and he's a super sharp kid, super sharp, and again he made my life a lot easier and the coaches' lives a lot easier around him.
Well, coaching this wide receivers room has got to be a little bit fun for you as well.
It's
you got a little bit of talent in that room, don't you?
A little bit, yep.
Yeah.
We got some guys.
Yeah. Talk about Xavier Weaver we got coming up here.
Zay's he's awesome to be around. He's fun. He competes every day. You don't have to worry about him at practice and pushing himself at practice. He's a natural competitor. He's going to compete at a high level. and he just wants to win. You know, just straight up. And I mean, he's one of those guys where you got to take him off the field. You know, because he literally wants to play every snap, not only in the game but in practice as well. So he's a pleasure to coach.
Omarion Miller, to everybody else, comes out of nowhere last week. And I mentioned Coach Barnett was watching practice and was going, that kid right there is really, really talented.
Yep.
You weren't surprised by what he saw when he got his chance?
I wasn't, because I saw it in practice that week, you know. And, you know, he had a couple drop balls here and there. He had a couple busts here and there. But, like, overall, the last couple weeks in practice, he's been very consistent, and he's been consistently making plays. He showed flashes in camp, but it seemed like these last couple weeks he's really starting to kind of take ownership of, you know, his practice habits on the field and his studying off the field. So when his opportunity came, he didn't shine away from the moment. He was prepared.
It really does bolster that you know, I guess, philosophy you guys tell the players all the time about when your opportunity arises, you have to take advantage of it, right?
That's right.
Case in point, number 14 now.
That's exactly what he did. You don't know when your moment's going to come, but if you're not working, you know, while you don't have that moment, when your moment comes, I mean, how are you going to be prepared to execute and you know, rise to the occasion? So he did just that, but we saw that in practice, so it was no surprise.
Are there any other guys in the room that we don't know about that may pop out like that?
There's a couple in there, and I mean, in their work, we got guys. Again, the nice thing about having a room like this is that there's a ton of competition, and so guys, they know they can't take any days off. You know, they can't miss a day. You know, they know if their performance drops, there's another guy right behind them, ready to go. So when you breed competition like that, you know, guys, they stay on top of their game, and they tend to practice at a high level.
Okay, tell me about the wrestling match that goes on between you and the secondary coach for Travis Hunter. How does it work out exactly?
No, me and Coach Mathis, we're good.
Yeah.
We got a good relationship, and it's just it's a day-by-day basis, and we handle it well, and Travis handles it well. And, you know, not only is he just a natural freak athlete on the field, he's really smart. You know, intellectually, he's got that same, you know, high football IQ that Shador does in a sense. And so he's able to handle that workload mentally. So it's just kind of every other day at this point.
Brett, when you're in this business, every once in a while a guy comes along that just, you go, okay, that cat's different, right? I mean, they're made differently. They move differently. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
How do you coach that guy? Any differently or?
No, you really don't. And I remember, you know, when I first got to Jackson State, one of the first guys to ever, you know, pop in my office was Travis Hunter.
Right?
And, you know, he wanted to watch film. He wanted to learn the offense. And I just, you know, I remember our winter conditioning, our summer conditioning. The guy working the hardest was Travis Hunter, you know. And there's a reason why he's able to play 120 so snaps per game and do both offense, defense, and handle it both, not just during the week, but on Saturdays as well, because he puts the work in. And so he's one of those guys that makes it easy.
Well, I've just always thought about, you know, for example, when Coach Prime was playing, for example, what do you tell as a coach? What do you tell that guy, right? What did somebody tell you know, Roger Clemens when he was pitching, or, you know, pick your guy out there?
Yeah. Well, my job is just kind of working out the kinks as far as receiver play goes, and just tying it all together with our system, you know, and our knowledge with myself and Coach Lou, and for him just being where he's supposed to be and where Shador expects him to be. You know, he understands coverage. He understands all that stuff. But there's a few things technique-wise to hash out, and he's done an unbelievable job developing as a wide receiver over the course of the past year. So,
you know, as good as the offensive numbers have been, and they've been fantastic. One of the players, I read a comment by one of them the other day, said, "I think we're finding a rhythm on offense."
Yeah.
Here 5 weeks in, is that true?
We've left a lot of meat on the bone, you know, and TCU. I think TCU was, you know, obviously the best game as a whole, you know, offensively we've played up to this point. I still don't think we put it all together yet, you know, and that's what we're fixing to do on Saturday. Again, it starts with your preparation and your execution and practice. We had a really good week of practice. Again, ton of meat left on the bone. There's still plenty of plays to be had out there. So, no, I don't think we've reached our full potential yet, but I think we're close.
Well, what's the staff under Coach Lewis on the offensive side? How's that relationship? How does it work with all of you guys?
Awesome. Yeah. You know, everyone's on the same page. The expectations are clear. He makes it fun. He makes it easy. And the system – you know, I think it's perfect for you know, the guys that we have on our side of the ball, between the quarterback, the receivers, you know, running back, skill players, the dudes up front. I think it all ties together beautifully, and I think that's why you're kind of seeing some of the numbers and some of the production that we've had. But again, those numbers will continue to climb as we start cleaning stuff up.
Brett, I'd have to imagine with this style of offense and having the guy pulling the trigger back there in Shedeur, I'd have to think that around the country there are a lot of recruits that think, man, I want to play in that offense.
Oh, yeah.
This has got to be attractive, right?
My phone's been going off lately, I'll tell you that. Phone's been hot lately. And the beauty of it is, again, it makes my job easy because everyone's seeing us play.
Yeah.
And everyone knows about the Buffs. Everyone knows about Coach Prime. And all eyes are on us every single week. And we're attracting a lot of attention, and that's something that a lot of people want to be a part of right now.
Awesome. Give us a quick thought. Yeah, give them a round of applause. Listen, when one of our coaches says their phone's on fire, everyone applaud for that all the time. That's always a good thing. Lastly, give us a quick thought about Arizona State that you're going to face on Saturday.
You know, I think they're a team. They're really talented. You know, I don't think they've reached their potential offensively or defensively. I do like the way that we match up against them on offense. I really do. I think there's holes to exploit there. But, you know, again, they're going to have a game at home, and they're going to give us everything they got. You know, wherever we show up, teams they tend to treat that as their Super Bowl, and you know, and we're ready to roll with that. But again, it's about us, and as long as we, you know, control the controllables and dominate the line of scrimmage, maximize our calculated shots, as long as we do our job collectively, we're going to have a really good day on offense.
Right. Wear something to breathe. It's going to be warm down there. All right?
That's what I hear.
A little warm. So, hey, let's hear it for Brett Bartolone, wide receivers coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. They've got Arizona State on Saturday at 4:30. Gary and I are going to hit the air at 2:30 on the Colorado Football Network with the Buffalo Stampede pregame show. Coming up next, our players segment. This guy's been putting up some big numbers. Xavier Weaver is going to join us, wide receiver for the Buffaloes, number 10. That's next here at the Post Chicken and Beer, and this is Colorado Football from Learfield. Back on Buffs Primetime, one final segment here at the Post Chicken and Beer, presented by Aflac. Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover. Visit Aflac.com to learn more. Xavier Weaver is joining us, players segment, number 10 wide receiver.
How y'all doing?
Good to have you here.
Appreciate you for having me.
I was telling Xavier that the Aflac Duck was going to be here next year, and our engineer Shannon Scott was wondering what kind of microphone he's going to put on the Duck next week. So that ought to be fun to figure that out. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Well, you're playing some good football right now.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, big numbers. You having fun?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely having fun.
Give us your background. How did you? Okay, you're at Central Florida.
South
Florida. I beg your pardon. You're from Orlando.
Yes, sir.
And you and Jimmy are down there. And was it a package deal? How did the two of you end up here?
I mean, it was something like I really didn't want to go somewhere by myself and start a whole journey all over again, meeting a whole bunch of new people, stuff like that. So me and Jimmy already had that kind of relationship that, you know, I feel like we can do it together somewhere, be a package deal somewhere, and you know, be the best in the nation, in the country, stuff like that. So when we started talking about that, seeing what would be best for us and stuff like that, maybe we should go somewhere and dominate by ourselves over there, or maybe we can take advantage of this opportunity at Colorado.
Right.
You know, so I knew we were going to be throwing the ball a lot and stuff like that. So that was something we took into consideration when we was in the transfer portal and stuff like that. We're just communicating every day, and then now we're here.
Here you are.
Yes,
and when you're a wide receiver, you want to go someplace with a great quarterback, and you got one, right?
Definitely.
That makes your life a whole lot better when you got a guy like Shedeur back there.
A whole lot easier.
Yeah. You like this offensive system?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I like it. It fits me well. Spread the ball out a lot. It's not really just one-sided, you know, so you never know when you might have your game and when you might have to, you know, take one for the team. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's the kind of thing, too, and I was just thinking about that because you put up big numbers. Jimmy's put up big numbers. Travis, obviously, when he was playing, put up big numbers. Amari, what he did last week, did that surprise you at all? I mean, you see him every day in practice.
Definitely not.
Yeah?
Nah. Yeah, we see it in practice every day.
Right.
It's just you guys got to see it for once, so it surprised a lot of you guys.
But what's funny about it, so any given day, the opposition kind of has to pick their poison. Are they going to cover number 10, number 5, number 14, number 12? I mean, so, you know, on any given game, someone's going to have a breakout contest, right?
For sure. I told O going into the game, you know, when his number got called, I told her, hey, they don't got no film on you.
Yes.
Go out there and play ball. They don't know what you can do. So he made the first catch. So I'm like, in the end zone, you see me go up to him. I said, I told you. And he just kept going from there.
How do you like Boulder so far? You enjoying Colorado and what this city and state has to offer?
It's different. It's different in Florida.
Yeah.
It's different in Florida, but I like it.
Yeah.
You know, everybody welcomes me well, and a lot of people friendly and stuff like that. It's not a lot of hate out here, so I like it. You
know what? We don't have any alligators. You don't have to ever worry about alligators out here.
I believe it.
Right, yeah. Jay, one buffalo.
I
but
believe it.
Steer clear of the buffalo, you're fine. Otherwise, no alligators.
I still never seen Ralphie.
Yeah? Well, I suppose when you come, by the time you come out, she's made her turn.
Yeah, she already went in the truck.
Yeah. We're going to do a one-on-one with you and Ralphie.
Probably.
I think that'd be kind of fun. Give us your back. Now, he told me something during the break. Your mother's from France. Is that what you told me?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's adopted. She grew up in Paris, France.
Okay.
So like came down to the States around Florida around like 20, 30, something like that. I'd say. Late 20s, early 30s.
Okay. All right.
Stuff like that, and never went back up there. Built her life out in Florida.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and met my pops.
So mom and dad are still down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you got a couple of brothers?
I got two brothers, one older, one younger than me. They both in Florida as well.
All right. The athletes as well?
My older brother's an artist. He
Really?
draws. Yeah, he's real talented. He's an artist, stuff like that. He got something working for me, so I'll show you guys soon. And my younger brother, he's into cars and stuff like that. So.
All right. Were you always a football guy?
I was always a football guy.
Any other sport, or was it always I'm a football guy?
No, I played JV basketball.
Did you? All right.
Ran some track.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Can you hoop a little bit?
Yeah, I can hoop.
Yeah.
I can hoop.
Of course, what a silly question.
Yeah, I can hoop.
Yeah, obviously. Did the art ability hit you? Do you have that in your DNA? Are you an artist in any way, shape, or form?
Not at all.
No?
My brother, he's really the only one in the family that can draw.
Is that right?
And he draws amazing.
Okay. Do you have any hidden talents we don't know about? Can you play guitar, harmonica? No? Can't draw?
All my talents, y'all see it. Y'all see all my talents.
All right, you guys have had a couple of high-level games here the last couple of weeks, right? At the top 10. Well, heck, the whole. And I saw somebody put out a couple of days ago. They thought Colorado had the toughest first 5-game schedule in the country. I mean, it's been high level. So all of a sudden, things kind of let up. And that's not a disrespectful comment to Arizona State. It just becomes a different atmosphere right now. This is an important game for you guys this weekend, isn't it?
Definitely. Like I said earlier, every team we play, they want to beat us. It's going to be their Super Bowl. So we just got to come out there and execute our plays and our game plan, and we'll be straight.
Do you respond to that concept you're talking about where you're the hunted? I mean, Colorado's got a target on its back, right? Because of all the attention this program has gotten. You like that because you realize you have to play at a high level every week?
I mean, at the end of the day, we still got to go out there and play.
Yeah.
You know, we got to put our pants on. They got to put their pants on, helmets and pads, stuff like that. So as long as we just go out there and do what we were told to do and the game plan throughout the week, throughout practice, stuff like that, everything should be smooth.
Well, what do you think about this Arizona State team, though? I mean, it's going to be hot down there on Saturday. You okay
used
with that?
to it. You know, I'm used to it.
You're a Florida guy. That's no big
so
deal.
I can't wait to get back up there. You know, I've been sniffing a lot up here lately. It's been getting kind of cold, but I'm ready.
Hey, we love having you here.
Appreciate you.
Thank
boss.
you for
Thank
coming
for
out.
having me. Appreciate y'all.
Xavier Weaver, number 10. He and the Buffaloes are going to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils on Saturday down in Tempe. Gary and I are going to hit the air at 2:30 Mountain Time. We'll kick it off at 4:30 Mountain Time. Our thanks to the Post Chicken and Beer. Remember, Wednesday next week we're back out here for the show because of the Friday night game. So thanks for joining us. This is Colorado Football from Learfield.